5 years and still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Roll subtitle. Live from Harlem in New York. It's the Ramble with Alex Bennett. That's me, and we'll be here until, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be here until midnight tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the fabulous Larry Bubbles Brown. Go, Larry.
Hello, Alex.
Hey, you sound more excited than usual today.
Yes, I'm very peppy because you told me you're a little tired, so I'm going to try to carry the energy.
You're going to try and carry the energy. Yeah, I got a whole bunch of information on my prostate thing, the seed implantation. You know, they're putting these radioactive seeds in me.
Now, this is the standard these days for that treatment, right?
It's one of the standards. You know, I mean, the radiation I had is a standard, and this is a standard, and the both together are usually done to make sure they get everything. Okay, but so I get all this information. Here's one of the things I absolutely love is the. After the implant, most patients do not experience discomfort immediately after the implant. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's good news, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. However, you may experience any of the following: pain or burning with urination, bruising in the perineum, frequent urination, frequent urges to urinate, getting up frequently at night, slow stream or hard urination, inability to urinate, high fevers greater than 101 degrees.
Wow.
And then they have a whole thing about how to solve these problems. When you get to the high fever, they say, well, the urologist probably prescribed an antibiotic after the implant. These should be taken the full length of the prescription. If you experience a high fever greater than 101 degrees, call your urologist. Suppose it's at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know?
Yeah, they'll be there.
But here's the one I love. This is the radiation safety rules to follow, which, of course, I want those safety rules because, after all, I don't want to do anything that would hurt anybody. Please do not place pregnant women or small child on your lap for 2 months following the implant.
This is your chance to get even.
Well, if like I got somebody pregnant, this is a good way to get the kid aborted. Either that or you get a kid with 3 eyes, something like that, you know. You like that one, huh?
That's funny.
You're going to love this one. Wear a condom following the implant as directed by the radiotherapist. This will protect your partner if a seed is passed during relations.
Passed? Wow.
Yeah. Like, for instance, you know, I seriously doubt that after having these seeds implanted, I'm even going to want to fuck for 2 months.
No.
Okay? But if a seed is passed, I guess, you know, so we don't want any seeds passing. Now, any loose seeds that are found, where are they going to be found? I pee them out in the toilet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Should be placed in a medicine bottle and placed in the medicine cabinet. Call the radiation oncologist for instructions. I can imagine that if I get one of these seeds and I pass it and then I put it in a little jar and whatever, and I call my radiologist, my urologist for this whole thing, the next thing that comes up are like 3 guys in hazmat suits.
Hazmat, yeah. Kicking the door in.
Kicking the door in to drag me this stuff out. Come on, you know. And I'm told by the doctor, this is a very simple procedure, right? In and out. You're in and out of the hospital. That's great. I'm in and out of the hospital. just afterwards, I can't pee. I get high 101-degree temperatures. She hasn't prescribed any antibiotics for me to take, so I have no idea. And they said I've taken an antibiotic the night before, and she's out for a couple of days. I wrote her and I said, I don't have an antibiotic prescription. The last time I asked her about this, she said, well, no, they feed you antibiotics through the intravenous while you're under. So who knows? I give up. I'll probably die on the table anyway. So. How did he go? Well, he was having some seeds implanted in his prostate, and, the catheter fell out of his dick, and they blah, 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 blah.
Well, I like how they, the same with when you get a thyroid procedure and they put this radiation in you. Sometimes after the surgery, they'll seal you up in a room for a week, and they give you these pills that you're not supposed to urinate in public restrooms or anything. I'm thinking, so if it's if it's that dangerous to the public, how can this shit be good that they're putting in you?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, it's nice. You're putting about 100 seeds in my prostate. That's wonderful. It says then come back a month later so we can do a CT scan and check if the seeds are radiating properly and if it's affecting any nearby organs. Yeah.
How many do they put in?
I don't know. I read somewhere it's a couple of hundred, but I don't think
really?
I don't
Wow.
think it's that many. They're all about the size of a grain of rice. Which is fine, but 100 of those can be, who knows? I don't know. So I'm giving up on this whole process. I just do it and let me be in pain, and I'll just lie in bed for weeks, and I won't do shows, and I'll be just horrible. I'm probably overthinking it. And then I keep worrying my hernia is going to get bad before the seeds are implanted. So,
what did he? If you took the course of doing nothing, did you discuss that with him?
No, I really didn't. I've always wanted to ask him, what if I didn't do any of this? What would have been the prospects? And he'd probably say, well, it could spread to other organs and blah, 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 or it might not. Oh, okay. Now, do I want to take a chance on they might not? And I don't think I want to take a chance on that. What's the downside of the radiation? Discomfort. It's my original urologist who sent me to the oncologist said to me that the whole process is you have prostate cancer. Okay, I say, okay. He said, is it going to kill me? He said, no, but it's going to be mildly annoying. Mm-hmm. And that's really what it's been so far, is mildly annoying. So, I guess I can live with mildly annoying. It just makes me grouchier. Than I already am. So how's your hernia? Because I keep thinking
it goes through periods where it hurts for pretty bad, and then it's good for a week. So
mine doesn't hurt, and when I push on it, nothing hurts. When yours hurts, when you push on it, does it hurt?
Doesn't hurt when I push on it. Sometimes it just hurts when I'm standing up or.
Yeah, well, no, I just feel like in my groin. It's a little rough. It doesn't even hurt. It just kind of is. I don't know. It may not even be the hernia that's causing that. I may actually have crotch rot or something.
Well, I would like to get it repaired, but I just I don't know.
I don't have great pain, but you do have great pain, right?
Not great, but it's pretty, it comes and goes.
Yeah. I used to have it when I was walking, and then it stopped. So I guess maybe it popped through or something.
If you're not having pain, they would say just leave it alone.
Yeah, I'm not having pain. I'm just having a little, I don't know. I'm sitting here, and I'm imagining it right now. But it doesn't hurt when I push on it. When I lie down, it recedes back into the,
Yeah, that's what mine does. So that's,
Yeah, so they told you yours is not
If it doesn't recede, that can be a problem. But you're not having pain and it recedes, I'd leave it alone.
Yeah. I'm just worrying about that because I know I have this coming up, and I don't want that to interrupt this. So anyway, we've been on now for 10 minutes almost,
and people hate us talking about our health issues.
It is talking about our health. Well, we could talk about Donald Trump. How's that? Or we could talk about the debate.
Health issue.
We could talk about the debate on the. Wow! Did you see any of that debate? Did you pay attention to these things?
I didn't, but I heard it was pretty bad.
Oh, the winner of that debate was Donald Trump. I mean, they made
That's what I think he could win again.
The Democrats made themselves look so bad last night by trying to go after Bloomberg like they did. They could have questioned Bloomberg and stuff like that, but they were like piling on, And it's interesting. Bloomberg didn't seem ready for it, which is amazing to me because usually he's a good enough politician that he would be, ready for it, as it were.
You would think.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a cluster, what.
Well, who went after him the hardest, Sanders or Warren?
I think Sanders did, and I don't like Sanders. I just don't. There's just something that's not genuine about him, and he doesn't ring true to me. And I think it was best stated by Bloomberg when he says, I don't know what kind of world you live in, but you're a socialist and you own 3 homes and you're worth several $1 million. And how do we come to that?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I kind of agree with that. I mean, it's not like he exactly lives the lifestyle.
That's true.
That he should to be a decent human being. Well, anyway, that was the whole thing last night, and I am watching it today, watching the reruns of it. It was just everybody bickering with everybody else, and the trouble is that when you get these debates, what you're doing is you're supplying sound bites for the Republicans. So what you should do is everything you can to not fight with each other or to denigrate each other and each other's record, but try and just bolster your own cause and lay down your credentials. You get what I'm saying? And if I were these Democrats, I wouldn't even debate. I wouldn't give the Republicans that ammunition. And they're going to take sound bites from this debate and say, do you want somebody who listened to this, and then they go, oh, you did such and such. And it's just giving every debate they've done, like, I don't know, I think 3,000 debates so far, and they've given them just constant ammunition for the opposition ads. I just think it's really stupid. And if I were the Democrats, I would have said, maybe 1-2 debates at best, and that's it. And we all act very civil towards each other. We make our case, but we don't try to denigrate everyone else's case.
Right.
And that way you'd be safe, okay? But this way, I mean, come on. If I were a Republican ad maker, guy making ads for the Republicans, I would just be clipping up sound bites like crazy on each of these guys, because whoever the nominee is, you're going to have enough information from what the other people said to go get them. And I just think you people have really screwed up, okay? Just screwed up. And so I think Trump won last night. I think he really won.
You got that infighting. That's like remember when Ted Kennedy challenged Jimmy Carter, and and he got mopped up by Reagan.
Yeah, exactly. You don't give them something they can feed off of. And they feed off this kind of stuff. So anyway, and it's just terrible, just terrible. And today, you go over to MSNBC or someplace like that, and they're deconstructing the whole thing. And who won last night? It's like it was a boxing match, and they're doing the after boxing match analysis. And if so and so had given a harder punch here, blah 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 blah, and some of them are even describing it as a wrestling match today. And that's what it's become. But that's what they wanted. That's what MSNBC wanted last night in order to get ratings, in order to sell ads, So, anyway, screw it. So how was the life of Larry Bubbles Brown?
Oh, just wonderful. My album's coming out in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I want to give you the first copy.
Okay. It's going to be, you're going to have a record release party?
I think they're trying to do one, yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I hate self-promotion, so I can't deal with this stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So now you're also doing a comedy show. I saw this in the online at the Punchline called The Dinosaurs of Comedy.
Yeah, we do three of those every year.
Well, I know it's nice to show up for, and I'm sure they pay you a bundle of money to do it.
Yeah, so I think we're getting paid what we got paid 30 years ago.
Something like that. Well, that's because it's a mood piece, and they want to keep you in the mood by paying you what they paid you 30 years ago.
Take us back to 1990.
But I asked this of Pearl because I said, "Are you doing it?" And he said, "No, I'm not living in the Bay Area anymore, so I never get asked to do it." And I said, "But how do you feel about the term dinosaur of comedy? I mean, has it come to that?"
Well, we've been discussing that because a couple think it's a really bad title because dinosaurs are extinct.
Yeah.
But I think dinosaurs are kind of lovable. I kind of like it, so I don't know. Maybe they should come up with a different name. In fact, they're trying to come up with a different name. So.
Something like, I don't know, comedies. Well, I don't know.
If anybody can come up with a good name, let us know because they want to change it.
Well, there's a good term. I mean, what's the term they use for like old stuff that's good now? Classic comics or something like that. But it's just I mean, it's a fairly good lineup. I think you're the best one in the group. No, I'm serious. Michael Meehan's on it, I think.
Yeah, Johnny Steele and I think Diane Amos.
Diane Amos.
I didn't know she was on it. Someone told me, she's on it. So.
She was okay. But
she's had a great career as a Pine Sol lady.
As a what? As what?
She's the Pine Sol lady. She's a spokesman. I think she's been doing that for 30 years.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, then she certainly doesn't need the money.
No, that's if you can get into like Flow from Progressive, you got one of those jobs. You're the spokesman. It's just you shoot 2 or 3 of those a year, and you make a fortune. And
yeah, what could you be the spokesperson for?
Yeah, no,
prostate cancer.
Prostate cancer, or the Neptune Society.
The Neptune Society? That's the group of the freeze people, isn't it?
No, the cremation.
Oh, the cremation. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, but then again, I wonder if these people who like do these ads for like something like hemorrhoids. I used to have the problem, blah blah blah, but then I used blah blah blah. You know what I saw today? I'll tell you, this is terrible. There's an ad on television for Peyronie's disease.
Oh.
Do you know what Peyronie's disease is? I've
seen that, yeah.
It's a penis that curves, okay? And it's curved in that permanent position. Sometimes it has a bump on it. It's kind of the Rumpelstiltskin of penises, and they do the ad, and they're showing squash, bananas, things like that.
Hysterical.
Have you seen the ad?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I used to have a problem, but I went to my doctor, and now, and then I guess they show like, a hot dog. It's just, and then they don't say what it is anymore. I think they said Peyronie's disease once in the ad, but then after that they call it PD.
PD.
I have PD.
And ED.
Yeah, but I have PD. Oh, well, very good. You got PD. That's wonderful. What do you have? Police department? Is that what you have? Post depression. I mean, it's just they never. In a lot of these diseases, like erectile dysfunction, never use the term erectile dysfunction. I had ED. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You mean your dick wouldn't get hard? Is that what you're telling me? No, I have ED. That's nicer than erectile dysfunction. I mean, come on. And then showing all these things like squash and, cucumbers and whatever to describe the disease is just, I'm sitting there going, has it really come to this? Is this what advertising on television is?
Well, it's another reason they used to be they couldn't advertise pharmaceuticals, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we should go back to that era.
Well, you know what's the worst thing they say about the advertising for pharmaceuticals is that people then go to their doctor and say what they want. I did that a couple of months ago. I wanted Lyrica because of my neuropathy. And the doctor said, oh, okay, sure, here's a script for Lyrica or the generic Lyrica or whatever it is. And I'm going, I even did it, and that's why they advertise. Because
so it works.
And doctors hate that because you go to your doctor and you go, well, I saw on TV, blah, 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 they have this thing that will treat my condition. Can you give me a prescription for it? And doctors will give you a prescription for it because doctors don't want to be put in the position of refusing you the medicine you want. And that's why they advertise. When they couldn't advertise, your doctor gave you what you needed. And you didn't know what was out there anyway, so you took what he gave you. It's a whole new world, And, there was a time, I've been talking about the fact that I hate the primaries because they serve no function except to help the various political parties determine who their nominee is going to be. And since each state pays a fortune for those primaries to take place, shouldn't the parties be paying for it?
Right, that's a good idea.
First of all. Secondly, up until I think it was the 40s, maybe even the 50s, there weren't primaries. Some states had primaries, some didn't. And what happened was everybody went to a big convention and they all caucused with each other and, fought with each other and canoodled each other and came up with a nominee. But it had nothing to do with what went on at any primaries. So let's go back to that. Just have your convention in September or August, and let me know who your standard bearer is, and then they can go out and they can run across the country trying to sell their wares for about 2 months, 3 months, and then we have an election. It's all over with. This thing started a year ago, over a year ago, a year and a half ago.
It starts almost 6 months after a new president's sworn in. They should cut the time down on this.
And the only the only people who love it are these news organizations who then have a year and a half or 2 years of material to promote, and it does nothing, and it costs us, the taxpayer in our states, a lot of different money. Let me see here. We just lost Larry for some reason. I don't know why, so let me just call him back. He just disconnected. There you are.
We're back.
I don't know what happened to you. You have like a regular landline, right?
I got a landline, yes.
Yeah, he's got a landline, and he gets disconnected. So anyway, that was my whole thing about the... I think I only lost you for a couple of seconds.
Well, I guess TV loves it because these guys spend so much on commercials. It
Yeah.
makes them a fortune.
Yeah. So I mean, it really it doesn't serve any real purpose, you know. So I don't know what's going to happen here in New York. Who's going to win? Probably Bernie Sanders will get the nomination. You know, win the primary. Maybe Bloomberg would, but I don't know if Bloomberg would win in New York. That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people who like him, a lot of people who don't like him. He wasn't a bad mayor. He wasn't a great mayor. In fact, in my lifetime, I don't know if I've had any great mayors here in New York. Maybe Lindsay was okay, But anyway, so listen, we've talked ourselves out here.
We've talked ourselves blue.
And we'll talk to you very, very soon. I don't know when I'll see you next because of my operation and my procedures and so on, but we'll see you as quickly as is humanly possible. The lovely and attractive Larry Bubbles Brown. Thanks, Bubs.
Thanks, Alex.
5 years and still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Larry Bubbles Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Larry Bubbles Brown. Thank you very much, Larry Bubbles Brown. Why do they call him Bubbles? The Paula Poundstone came up with the name Bubbles because she felt he was so effervescent that should be his nickname. So that's what happened. Let me see here. Where are we? Where do we find? Oh, there's Skype. I always forget where I put Skype in my tray. There we go. And now we're opening up our Skype lines for the, hear that? That means that it's working. It meant that it said, oh, the last guy was that called this person, right? Okay. Anyway, so it's time now for people to call this program, and we put together what's called a citizen panel, which is not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9. We can go upwards to, I don't know. We've tried 12. I think for the sake of the program, the best is maybe 8. Okay? After that, it gets a little unwieldy, and that's a real problem. Boy, these lights that I got really are working nicely, aren't they? Oh, God, I shouldn't have had that up all the way. Here comes Charlie Wallace, ladies and gentlemen. He was in the first place last night, and now he's in the first place tonight. You see him up there? Right up there. He's right up in that corner here. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can. Can I get up there? I can't poke him. Oh, well. Hello there, Charlie. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah. Here comes Bree. Here comes Bree. Already. Bree is calling. Let me see here. Let me put him in the number 2 spot. Bree Free. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Okay, there he is now. Let's see here. Bree is. I'm gonna cancel. See if he's there we go. Okay, now let me get him. See, if you don't turn on your camera, I then don't get a thing of you here. But once you do, I have a thing for you here. And then Phil Meyer is calling. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. So he will, as soon as he comes in. Let me see here. Do we have a picture of him? Fine. We put him in the bottom spot here. He'll be on the bottom tonight. There we go, I think. And there we go. Okay. All right. So did you go beat up on the old guys last night, Phil, at their photo club?
Yeah. I'm the print chair, so I'm in charge of setting the prints out and organizing them for the judges. So it's necessary that I be there because no one else is spry enough. And
everywhere else, we call those gophers.
Yeah, well, no one else can lift the viewer besides me. They're all too old.
Well, really?
Yeah. Yeah, the viewer weighs about 40 pounds.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Soon you won't be able to lift that, so then someone else will have to do it. Some other bully who comes with his photographs to, take his 40 years of photography and take the best 3 pictures and win contests.
Yeah, well, I do current stuff, and I like to do things from the current year.
From the current year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello to Bree. Bree is where are you, Bree? You're in fuzzy background land.
I'm in KL. Okay.
Huh?
I'm in KL.
You're in KL, Kuala Lumpur, and he's fuzzed out his background. I can do the same thing if I want to here, but I don't, because I want everybody to see the clutter that I have in back of me. We're talking about Skype, folks. People who are watching me on the show. I can't blur out my background, which would be nice if I could blur out my background. Be nice if I could blur out my foreground. Then people wouldn't have to see how ugly I am. Let me see.
I wish that we could put faces on.
Let's see here.
I
want everybody to see my Cowboy Nation.
Oh, you're what? You're what?
A Cowboy Nation.
Oh, yeah, right. Let me see here. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Jeff is like this really weird thing.
Claiming Pam Zeller.
Huh? Well, no, it signs on as Pamela Zeller, but then his actual number that I get here is, let me see here. Can I read it to you?
Sure.
Yeah. It's let me see here. It's I have to put my glasses on. It's CBE 89480A8B3E6D3. You can just change that to Stein Zeller.
I think I should.
All you have to do is go into your thing, and it says what your name is going to be, and don't do it now. Don't do anything now. But but every time I'm looking for you, I'm going, wait a minute, where is he? And then I go, oh yeah, he's that long involved one.
Well, Ray had the same thing. Ray had a similar thing the other night.
No, he has Goomba 21 again.
Oh, again. Okay.
Yeah, he has that again.
So why do you think they suspended you, Jeff?
I don't know. I have no idea what happened.
They suspended you from Skype?
Yeah.
Wait a
All
minute.
of a sudden, it wouldn't work. Okay, and then I tried to reload it, and it wouldn't run. And the more and more we asked them, it said, sorry, you've had problems with it too many times, and you're out.
Wow.
And so Pam finally got it in, but it's under her name. And I figured, okay, I'll take that.
Well, by the way, you can always call them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We tried
By the
that.
way, that's a joke, folks, because there's no way you can call Skype. There's no way you can talk to a human being about your problems with Skype.
Well, you could talk to me about it.
Yeah.
But I
Move
talk
your
to
camera
you
so
about
we
it, but
move
nobody
your,
had Skype.
move your camera so we see your whole face. Okay, we're just seeing the bottom part. There we go. That's
I think the business.
Like that face?
yeah.
Hey, this Forbin Colossus is a major asshole. Why don't you block him?
Because he's
noticed-
an old fan and he's nice to me.
Yeah, but he's not nice to Bree.
Is Bree a serial killer or a registered
Regular
kind of lurking dude? Who does he date?
I don't see that. Where do you see it?
It's on the YouTube.
Yeah.
On the chat line.
Yeah.
But I have a defender.
Who does he
I
date?
think I have a defender.
Actually, I date him
I have a defender
by about
don't
40
I?
years. What?
Yeah. Who's that?
There's somebody who defends me, right, Alex?
Jeff usually has the best backgrounds, says
Yeah,
Corbin
oh, yeah.
Colossus. That blue wall in his kitchen is snazzy. That's a kitchen down in Miami. You won't see that in another couple of weeks. American Patriot, who is truly an asshole. Says Forbin is just plain cruel. He mocks Tony too, and Forbin. Now they're writing back and forth, so I'll read them. Right. Forbin Colossus says, "Phil, you monster! What kind of wood flooring
on YouTube? Please defend my positions,
Your Honor."
Phil, you monster! What kind of wood flooring is non-toxic?
The kind I shove up his ass.
Yeah, kind of. Oh boy. Well, there goes.
I'll defend.
There goes my monetization for tonight. Ah, boy.
Well, hey, shoving up the ass is not the same as a curse word.
Who knows? I mean, we have no idea how this thing works. You know. So.
It does say.
I'm going for lunch at noon. So
what?
Yeah.
I'm going to be going for lunch at noon.
Yeah. And that's when?
So I've got 20 minutes, and then I'll rejoin you when I'm at the restaurant.
At the restaurant.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Are you get the same stuff, or are you going to get something new this time?
I think I may get Japanese, but I'm going to a different place today.
Is there pretty girls in this different place?
What?
We want the pretty girl place.
You guys, stop.
We don't care what kind of food you eat. Just, get the pretty girls.
Yeah.
That was awesome last week, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get some pretty good-looking ladies there.
What I wish they made is, I wish that they had a little camera that could Bluetooth to the phone.
I have to be careful.
And I could put the camera somewhere else, so I'm not holding my phone.
I have to be careful. I have to be careful what I say in case I decide to ever run for president.
Yeah.
Well, you may have pulled an off-color joke and had to sign an NDA.
Well, the thing is, if you do something like, if I did something in the year 2000, I think I might say something in 2000 I wouldn't have said in 2016. Yeah. Okay? All of us might have.
I'm sure we have.
You see a woman walking down the street, you go, I'd do her, Yeah. We did that all the time. That was guys talking to guys. But now if you said that, they go, hey, listen to the way, I'm going to sign a non-disclosure agreement just before you hand over the $5 million check, so. Yeah, people sign non-disclosure agreements because they've been given a hell of a lot of money, and the person who gives them a hell of a lot of money doesn't want the disclosure of how much money was paid to them. Yeah. Why it was paid to them. Sometimes it's just to get them off of them as a nuisance. Yeah. A lot of times if a guy gets sued, somebody in a big company, or a big company gets sued by somebody for $1 million, they'll settle rather than have to go through the expense of defending themselves. They've got the FU money, and they can do it. But that doesn't mean that they were wrong. They just means that they decided they would give them the money rather than fight it. Yeah. So,
hey, bit of good news. I called Verizon and I said, look, my iPhone 10, the battery says that it needs service. I said, I have a warranty. They said, yes, you do. So they sent me a new phone today. Mm-hmm. And I set the old phone next to it, and then all you do is say transfer, and boom, transfers the stuff. It's amazing. You don't have to plug it in. You don't have to do anything.
You say transfer?
Well, you push the thing.
On the tab,
Yeah, it asks you what language, what country, and a couple of other things, a little face recognition, and boom.
Now, do you have to send the old phone back?
Yeah, I have 5 days to do it. I also have to figure out how to get the SIM card out of the old phone. And,
it's simple.
There's videos on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't have the right tool. I think there's a tool that you use.
No, yes, you do. Use your penis.
Yeah, it's not hard enough.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's the problem.
It's not. You should have said it's not small enough.
That it was. After a prostatectomy, what they don't tell you is that you lose girth and length.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, did you hear me earlier? I just got stuff from my doctor.
What percentage is that calculated?
No.
I got stuff from my
enough percentage.
I got my stuff from my doctor about my procedure. Did you hear me talking with Bubs about it?
Yes, a little bit. I was in and out of the Bubs.
I can't have a pregnant woman sit on my lap.
Oh, because of the radiation.
Yeah, I'm wondering when that's going to happen at this point in my life, you know? Or when
you have any grandchildren?
And even if I was dating, they probably would all be past pregnancy time, you know?
Yeah. Marjorie's not having a child yet.
No,
so.
And if I have sex, I have to use a condom in case one of the seeds comes loose.
Oh, lovely.
And then if one of the seeds comes loose and I find it because I'm digging around in the condom for it, right? Yeah. I should put it in a plastic bottle and call the doctor because it's irradiated. At which point they send out 3 guys in hazmat suits to retrieve, this little rice-sized kernel of radioactivity.
Those are expensive. They can use it on the next guy.
They can use them on the next guy. Exactly. I wonder what happens. I don't know. I'll find out Tuesday what my doctor wears when he's in there. But does he wear a hazmat suit? I mean, how does he prevent himself from getting irradiated? And what's it doing to me is what I got that question.
Well, it's killing the cancer.
It's killing the cancer. Could it be killing me too? Well, there goes your bladder. It just exploded. I'm a little worried about this whole thing because I'm going under. I could never wake up,
I'm worried about that every operation I've had.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Can I have your laser discs?
Yeah, sure. They're up go get a hold of Damien. He knows where they are.
Yeah. Believe me, it's the last thing I want.
In fact, you can have them now if you want them. I don't think are that many left. I don't know.
The player doesn't have a connection to play into a newer kind of amplifier.
I'm trying to remember what kind of output that has. I think it has. There's some things you can play it on.
Or something.
Yeah, you can.
They were USBs.
Hmm.
They came out long before USB.
I know, but they did have like a video out. And you do have a video in on some things, or you can get an adapter that will then turn it into a USB that will then, But I don't care.
Yeah, I guess it would be hard to copy those and put them on your hard drives, right?
Put them on my hard drives.
Yeah,
I know. I could
CDs.
I could do it. Yeah, I could do it. I mean, I have some equipment that, for instance, what I did. I went out. With Midnight Blue, I never saved any of the shows. I never had copies of the shows because they were on 3/4 inch, and if you make a copy of 3/4 inch, that degrade. Every time you would make a copy from the original copy, it would degrade. Okay, today you don't know of that, folks, because when you make a copy of a video that you took on your iPhone and then you make another copy of it and another copy of it, they don't degrade because they're all digital. Mm-hmm. But in those days, they degraded. So I never really had copies of Midnight Blue. Plus, the only thing we had them on was 3/4 inch, and I'd have to put them off onto 1/2 inch, and then it wouldn't look as good.
Alex, didn't John Rockwell say? Is it John Rockwell say that he had a bunch of that?
No.
Could you talk to his?
No.
Yeah, he said that he had.
He had a couple of things, and he had things that I had already. But anyway, this guy bought up all of Midnight Blue and all the tapes and everything. Mm-hmm. And at one point I got a hold of him and I said, you better not. He started releasing them as Midnight Blue tapes, okay, compilations, things like that. They didn't look that great, but he did it anyway. And I never thought I was on that show much, I thought I had actually worked hard to make sure I wasn't on that show because I had another career. I had a radio career too. And then I suddenly realized when I watched one of these tapes of his how much I was on that show.
Your voice was on
not
it.
only my voice, but me physically was on that show on on most of the stuff he was showing. And I said to him, I said, you know something, I never gave you permission to use my likeness. And he said, well, we've got the releases everybody signed and things like that. I said, find one for me. I said, I never signed one, ever. And I had a reason for that. And today is that reason. I said, either you make some kind of deal with me or take me off of those tapes. And he said, what do you want? I said, I want the rights to use any of the masters that you have of Midnight Blue. And he said, okay, I'll write you a letter to that effect. Okay. Never got the letter. And to this day, I haven't gotten it. So the other day, I spent $29 and I bought a compilation of all his compilations that he put out. And I've just transferred them to the computer.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start using some of them, you know? Well, like an interview I did with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm going to start using him. And if he wants to come sue me, I'm sorry, pal. I got a bigger suit. It's for using my likeness without my permission.
Well, the only Midnight Blue I ever saw was the one that you copied for me of the Spermathon. And Susan was in that.
Yeah, that was the least of my accomplishments on that show.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Well, it was. I had been watching. What happened was I had been watching I, Claudius, and Messalina, who was it Claudius's wife, I think, on that show, had a big orgy in which she tried to see how many men she could have sex with in one night. And I thought that was a terribly good idea. So I found a porn actress who was willing to give it a try to see how many guys she could have sex with in one night. And so we then did it and set the world record at, I think, 79. Later, that was passed by a lot of other porno actresses as the years went on. And then I videotaped the whole event, right? And people, you know, interviewing them. What do you think? What are you doing? You know, showed it kind of going on because I didn't show hardcore on Midnight Blue. And that was my big accomplishment in life was the Spermathon. But that wasn't the best thing I ever did on Midnight Blue. I looked at a lot of the stuff. Here, the terrible thing about these compilations is he did a terrible job of editing them. I'm going to play something. This is going to be for sure. I'm not going to be able to monetize this show after I play this. And everybody be quiet while it's playing because it's playing on the same channel. There was a singer, songwriter by the name of Buzzy Linhart. And I don't know if you know the name, but he was he had some accomplishments. I'll tell you what the major accomplishment was after I tell the story. So I got a thing from a friend of mine the other day saying, did you hear Buzzy Linhart died? And he was a guy who worked with me on Midnight Blue. And he says, too bad I didn't have that theme song he did for us. Well, I got these discs the other day, and sure enough, there was Buzzy singing the song on the thing. And underneath it, it says, Buzzy Linhart was a folk singer-songwriter. Yeah? And then it says, he was good friends with Jimi Hendrix. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, these guys are morons who put this thing together. Because Buzzy Linhart is also famous for something else. He wrote the song You Gotta Have Friends that Bette Midler sings and has used as her theme song for years. And that's a pretty good accomplishment. That song is very well known. But anyway, he sang this song for us, which was the theme song for Midnight Blue. We used to play it at the front of every Midnight Blue for a long time. And this, for sure, will make sure we're not monetized tonight. Okay? Here's Buzzy.
Midnight Blue knows nothing's wrong with it. Furry freaks can write a song with it. Dirty is the funniest thing I know. Eat some food and take a shit with it. Sing fuck you and make a hit with it. Dirty is the funniest thing I know. The only nasty thing that you could be is a liar, or killing little children because your dick is on fire. So suck a cunt and write a tune with it. Find a cock and make a spoon with it. Don't say yes if you can't say fuck no. Fuck no! Because dirty is the funniest thing I know.
Yeah, and there was a little more that went on. He laughed a lot, and everybody applauded. But that was the theme song for Midnight Blue, and I found that because that was on that tape. So I sent it to my friend, David Weinstein, who used to be associate producer on Midnight Blue. And he said he was just sad the other day that when Buzzy died, he didn't have a copy of that song. And somehow I coincidentally, within the next couple of days, had my hands on a copy of it, so I sent it to him. You know.
Jeff had his hand up.
Yes, Jeff.
Yeah, I remember going to that show in New York only. The only place that I knew it was ever produced.
That's the only place it was ever shown as, on cable. Yeah.
What was it on, like Sunday night or something?
It was on. It was actually on Mondays and Fridays, I think, and it was at midnight, and it was blue. Oh. Yeah, I think we premiered it. Maybe wait, I got a sign in back of me. See, maybe you don't see it. No, I don't. It's that sign you can only see about kind of 3/4 of it. See right there?
Yeah.
Up there. It's a Midnight Blue sign, and it says, shown here, midnight, Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. Okay? We premiered it on Tuesday, and then we reran it on Friday and Sunday as well.
And who was the actor? I'll call him an actor. Who performed?
What do you mean, who performed?
Well, when you saw it on TV, who was the guy who was there, who was naked every night?
Naked every night? No, that wasn't Midnight Blue. That was...
Oh, what?
No, that was a show called, I think, Interludes After Midnight, which was run by a guy who owned a swingers club, and it was America's only nude talk show. I mean, New York at that time had a lot of fun stuff on cable.
Pretty wild stuff, right?
Yeah. No, Midnight Blue was... I called it the 60 Minutes of Sex. It was, we literally did documentaries and things like that, and we took people into places of sexual happenings that they normally wouldn't go. All right.
Yeah, like Plato's Retreat.
Plato's Retreat.
It's always the.
Or I took them to a swingers convention in the Catskills, things like that. So, but that was. But anyway, so as I say, I'm going to use that stuff like crazy. One night here, I'm going to run the Arnold Schwarzenegger interview I did with him when he first did Pumping Iron, the documentary about him. I love that interview. It's a good interview. Let me see here. There's some other stuff. I mean. But what they did is they chopped it up in such a way that there was really good stuff, and they would start it, and then they would stop it before it really got good. I did this thing which I don't know if you know who Annie Sprinkle is.
Yeah.
But Annie Sprinkle, we did a thing called Annie Sprinkle's Christmas. It was our Christmas show.
This is like the first part of the show.
Huh? What?
Nothing. Please go ahead. I'm gonna go to lunch, so
you're gonna.
I'll catch you on the flip flop.
Okay, I'll keep your space open. Okay, all right. Anyway, we went to what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so it was called Annie Sprinkle's Christmas, and it starts off like the Mary Tyler Moore show. In which she is walking down the street, she says, "Oh, I'm so happy to be in New York," or something, and then flips her hat in the air. Only it isn't a hat. Like Mary did it, it was her underpants. Okay. And then we do this whole musical montage to a song about New York, which goes on for like 2.5 minutes. Now, if you were watching the show during the week, it was just part of the show. But if you're watching a tape of a compilation of Midnight Blue, you want to get to the meat of stuff, right? But finally, she goes to work, and she's going to work, and Al Goldstein comes in and yells at her for doing stuff, and she was terrific, comedic sense. She was just terrific. And then we did this whole thing about her. She goes home and she has a dream, and she meets up with an elf, and things like that. And the elf, just a whole thing about Annie Sprinkle's Christmas. That part never got to it. Just the part where she's being reamed out by Al Goldstein, and there's this 2.5-minute scene of shots of New York. Boy, are you getting your money's worth with those tapes? I mean, I don't know who it's like who was it? The film Eric von Stroheim, who had MGM took his big opus film called Greed, a silent film, maybe the greatest film, one of the greatest films ever made, called Greed. And it was 7 hours long when he was finished with it, and MGM kicked him out of the studio, cut it down to 2.5 hours. And his line was, the only thing this editor had in his head was his hat, or something like that. And I felt the same way about this. I mean, why do you do what you did? Why would you run 2.5 minutes of shots of New York rather than run the part that really gets good, which is after where they ended it? And it's just all choppy, and things are slammed in there without context, and and on this one tape that I saw, I'm on most of it. And the guy's yet to send me a letter saying, hey, we're giving you the rights to it. So I'm thinking of writing him again and just telling him, I warned you, you haven't done anything about it, take that thing off the market now.
Yeah.
And I want to, what?
Take the money.
Yeah. I don't want the money. I want a copy of every master he's got, every master file he's got, everything he digitized. Okay? And then I'll put together my own versions of that, and it'll be really good. Because I know that material, and I know where it's good and where it isn't good. I'll also strip it of a lot of the music we use, because if any of these music companies want to go after him, he's dead in the goddamn water.
Yeah.
Plus the fact I know he doesn't have releases on anybody who was in those shows. So that's me, folks. Making trouble wherever I go. God, I've got a headache.
A lot of people in those shows probably aren't alive anymore.
Quite a few of them are dead. Yeah.
70?
But yeah, quite a few of them are dead. Yeah. Jerry Damiano did Deep Throat is Dead. He was on those shows. Who else was? I mean, there were a lot of the actors were gone. Jamie Gillis is dead. We could go on and on. There's a lot of dead porno stars now. But not that they died from sex or anything else. They just died because they got old. So, and those ones we can use.
Yeah.
That's
right.
But I was just amazed by this thing when I watched it. I just sit there and going, I did all this work for years to turn out really what I thought was some really interesting video. Mm-hmm. And this guy just decimates it. Just slices and dices it. Yeah. Anyway, I've got a headache tonight, and I can't take an aspirin because they say do not take aspirin or any blood thinners. Is ibuprofen a blood thinner?
I don't know, but probably
it is.
I wouldn't take it.
I'm deferring to Jeff. Jeff would know this kind of stuff.
Don't take it.
But what can I take for a headache?
Can you take Tylenol?
No. I think you can, actually. Yes, I think Tylenol.
I take Tylenol.
Huh?
But there's 2 different kinds of Tylenol.
Yeah.
So I take the one that has like the multiple colors, and I think it's a little less strong.
Yeah.
But and at the same time, it's good for a headache.
I think you can do Tylenol, if I'm not mistaken, because it's not a blood thinner.
I can, because I take it every day.
Yeah, yeah. But don't you take blood thinners, though, for your heart and everything?
Oh, yeah, you better believe it.
Huh?
The only thing I'm taking now is the child's vitamin, the 81 milligram.
I got one of those too.
Aspirin.
Baby's
You know what I hate about the baby aspirin? Can I yell and scream about this? And I love children. You know I love children. But what I hate about baby aspirin is that I know it's baby aspirin. I know that it is like a third of the dose of normal aspirin, something like that. Do you have to make them that small?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Swallow.
Because you're always, if you take them out of the jar, maybe you just put them into your little thing, your pill thing and all that. There's always something that winds up getting in your crotch. These things are just getting everywhere. They're like those little radioactive seeds they're warning me about, you know? And they could do a third of aspirin and make it normal size, okay? But no, they're going to make it baby aspirin. It's going to be tiny little baby aspirins. And they're hard to manipulate. They always get away. They're always like the sock that winds up on the side of the dryer and you can't find it later on, you know?
Yeah, I took Plavix for a year.
Plavix.
Yeah.
It's a Jerry Lewis word. Plavix. Yeah, what?
I don't think it's so bad because for me, that's not the smallest pills.
Oh, really?
Oh, even smaller? Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then one of them that's very, very small, I have to take two of them.
Really?
And they cause me to go to have urine.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this is what my cardiology thought was the greatest idea.
Yeah.
To take that every day.
Hmm.
And it basically means that the morning is got to be close to the bathroom.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Kill you.
Well, I'll be next week. I don't know how many shows I'm going to do next week. It's going to depend on how I'm feeling after the operation. It definitely won't be on Tuesday night. But if I can get back to my regular schedule, I don't know when that's going to be. It's certainly, if it isn't that week, it'll be the following week. But I'm going to take as much time as I need to kind of calm down. But I may have to, during the show, run off to the bathroom immediately. You know, if Phil knows what that's all about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, but outside of that, they tell me what could happen. They say, well, you know, you're going to be. Well, let me see how they put this. Hold on a second. Let me get this material. This is almost fun material. Wait a minute. Okay. I got to get longer earphones. Let's see. Post-seed implant. No, I don't want that. Let me see here. Oh, yeah. It says most patient, number one, this is after the implant. Most patients do not experience discomfort immediately after the implant. I don't know what that means. I guess it means they don't experience any problems after the implant, right? Or immediately after the implant.
The anesthesia wears off.
Yeah. Then it says, however, you may experience any of the following: pain or burning with urination, bruising in the perineum, frequent urination, frequent urges to urinate, getting up frequently at night, slow stream or hard urination, inability to urinate. Do you notice that 5 of these things on this list all have to do with urination? And then a high fever greater than 101 degrees. Now, what does that mean, Jeff? Does that mean that I may not have any of those things?
That's right.
Because
all
most patients do not experience discomfort immediately after the implant.
Yeah.
But, you know, how about a month later? Do you start experiencing that?
No, I don't think so. I think some of the things, if they're going to happen relatively in the first week,
yeah.
It might take you a while to get rid of them.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any worse than the biopsies. You know, when you have the biopsy and they're snipping 14 spots on your prostate, it can't be any worse than that.
And also it says here, I was telling Bubbles about this. Wear a condom following the implant as directed by a radiotherapist. This will protect your partner if a seed is passed through relations. to begin with, I don't think I'm going to be having sex with anybody really soon after this procedure. Not after you've turned my prostate into a pincushion, okay? Yeah. And so then it says, wait a minute, then it says, any loose seeds that are found should be placed in a medicine bottle and placed in the medicine cabinet, and then call a radiation oncologist for instructions. And as I said earlier, then 2 guys in hazmat suits come out to your house. Right.
They'll probably just tell you to swallow it again. You know.
Purchase two fleet enemas. Use one the night before. Here's the thing: they say you got to do a fleet enema the night before, and then on the day of the procedure, then you maybe there we are. There he is. He's
back from lunch.
Yes. Turn your audio off for a second here. Okay. Anyway, they said to me, I have to be there like an hour and a half before the procedure. Okay, and I have to take the enema, I guess, 2 hours before the procedure. And then I said, so what time do you think they're going to do the procedure? They said, they have you down for 8 in the morning. I said, I have to get there at 6:30 in the morning for this thing? And she said, well, they'll probably change it by then. That's just a place saver or whatever. But, I mean, I just, come on. I don't want to have to get up at 6:30 in the morning, but maybe I'll be so out of it that it'll be pleasant. I mean, I don't get it. But anyway, and then, of course, Marjorie has to come to the hospital to pick me up. Yeah. So anyway, once that's over with, I thought that would be the end of it, but then it says a month later I have to come in for a CT scan, so they can check that the seeds are where the seeds are implanted properly, and any other organs that might be affecting. And what it says is the scan should be done at Mount Sinai. It says the purpose of the scan is to locate the position of your seeds and to calculate the dose received by your prostate and surrounding normal issues. The doctor does not discuss the results because this is not a diagnostic scan. So I just have to come back to make sure everything's working just right a month later. And they also then do a PSA, but then they warn me that your PSA and your testosterone, your PSA level may actually rise due to inflammatory reaction from the seed implant. So, and I should not be concerned with it. Don't be alarmed if this occurs. So, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. But geez, what, I'm gonna have to get up and be there at 6:30 in the morning for this procedure, and before I leave, I got to stick a fleet enema up my butt. Gee, give me a break.
You out?
Huh?
They're going to put you out. You usually stay up to what, 2 or 3?
Yeah.
So it's a couple more hours. You get there, and they put you out.
Yeah, but I'm only out for like maybe. He said this takes him about 30 minutes. He's really fast at it. He's done this 8 billion times. What?
Is this done in a hospital? Are you going to keep you overnight?
No, it's an outpatient thing.
Nobody does that anymore.
Yeah,
it's too dangerous.
It's too dangerous, and it's an outpatient procedure.
It's too dangerous to be in a hospital.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
But you have
the worst place you can be.
Well, there's a worse place to be, a cruise ship, but that's another story altogether.
Yeah, those guys in Japan on the cruise ship, 2 people just died.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I wondered why they were all keeping them on the cruise ship to begin with.
They were quarantining them.
Huh?
Yeah.
They quarantined them.
Yeah. Bree, turn your camera in its portrait mode, please. Or did we lose him? No, we didn't lose him. No. There. Well, now it's in the portrait mode, but it's still not doing anything. It's not changing. Turn it the other way. Turn it the other way. Turn it again. There. That might do it. No, that doesn't do it either.
Keep going. Keep going.
Wow.
Time.
Keep going. Who knows?
Just
leave it that way, and it'll probably work itself out. I don't know.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Yeah, just aim it at those women. We don't. Oh. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Oh, I'm not running for president. Look at her. I do her anyway.
Yeah, redhead.
Do you notice how fast she got out of there, not knowing that I was there? Let's see here. And that's, wow.
I'll
tell you something. Malaysian women are very attractive.
Yeah.
And I'm not the kind of guy who goes crazy for Asian women, but they are something, and those cakes are good too. Yeah. In another week I'm going to care more about those cakes than them. All right, so yeah. Yeah. So anyway, we haven't talked about last night. Tonight.
Yeah, you must be really proud of those guys.
I'll tell you something. Last night they helped win Trump the election.
Yeah.
I don't know. Elizabeth Warren's raised $5 million.
It doesn't matter what she's raised. Yeah, what I'm saying is they literally, it couldn't have been better for anybody. What's happening? Why are you using the camera upside down and sideways and it's not working?
It's looking under the dress.
It's annoying. It's annoying. Yeah, just keep that shot, Bree. That's fine, pretend like, yeah. Hello, ladies. Anyway, where am I?
You were talking about Elizabeth Warren.
No, it's just that they acted last night in such a bad way, all the way around, that they were handing the election to Trump. And I'll tell you how. If I were them, I wouldn't do these debates. And the reason is, when you do a debate like you did last night, boy, they were sitting over there at the National Republican headquarters and over at the White House, and they were recording it and saying, well, that's going to be a good sound bite, and that's going to be a good sound bite, and that's going to be a good sound bite, because they were constantly putting each other down rather than stating their own case and laying off each other. Okay? And Elizabeth Warren was, I think, the most terrible and egregious one of them all. Yes, Charlie.
Well, I seem to remember Lindsey Graham and all the other Republicans saying all kinds of awful things about Trump during the primaries, and it didn't seem to hurt him in the general election.
But that's Trump.
And it's also because let me tell you how stupid the Democrats are when it comes to playing dirty. They don't know how to play dirty. Okay. Do you remember back in the old days when they had a little thing under Nixon called Watergate? Mm-hmm. You know when Watergate happened? Way before the election.
Yeah.
And do you think the Democrats ever made a big deal out of it? No. And why didn't they? When asked why they didn't, they said that wouldn't be right.
Are you sure Watergate happened?
Watergate, I saw a thing on it the other night. There's a show they're running on the history of Watergate. The Watergate arrest took place, maybe 6 months, maybe longer before the election.
17th.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't think the stuff really came out publicly before the election. Did it?
It came out. It came out. But the Democrats didn't do anything about it. And when they were running, I can't remember who was running for president at the time, he didn't bring it up. He didn't bring it up and say, what about this break-in at the Watergate against the Democratic committee? I mean, today...
I don't remember who ran.
Yeah, I think it was Humphrey.
That was McGovern.
It was McGovern.
That was when Nixon won 49 states.
Oh, yeah. Right. That's right. McGovern. It was Humphrey.
That was after Watergate. That's how
bad
the
and I'm sitting there watching television every night going, why aren't you talking about Watergate? Why aren't you talking about Watergate? And finally, somebody after the election said, we decided not to because that wouldn't have been proper. What? Are you out of your mind? These guys break into the Democratic committee, and it's Nixon's doing, and you're saying, hey,
what I enjoyed most about last night was watching a billionaire see $400 million go up in smoke.
No, it didn't.
And he's like a deer, and he was a deer in the headlamps, and he was probably saying, why did I spend that money on those ads? Or why did I actually get on this debate? Because he has hurt himself.
Well, I don't think so. I think he will survive this very nicely. But I think that if it turned me off to anybody last night, it turned me off to Elizabeth Warren, who I thought was playing kind of dirty.
They all were. Even Buttigieg, when he challenged Klobuchar on the president of Mexico's name.
Yeah, I thought that was a cheap shot.
Yeah.
So she couldn't remember. Hey, I couldn't remember who the mayor of New York was to my neurologist. I mean, when pressured sometimes, Yes, yes, Bree. Bree?
In general, there was a lot of feistiness between Klobuchar and Buttigieg.
Get away from the microphone a little bit.
Too close to them.
Too close to them.
Buttigieg is taking, her vote, and so she doesn't like him. And she kind of held back. She could have hit him. She's just not very good at hitting and getting those sound bites, because I think he ran statewide and lost by 20 points. And there have been a bunch of people who have come out and said he didn't run South Bend very well. She had a lot more she could hit him with, but she seemed to hold back. She is too nervous, and she's a nervous Nelly for me. I was liking her after New Hampshire, but now after that last debate, she stutters too much and sort of has a nervous energy that comes across in her voice. I don't know if anybody else picked up on that.
Yeah, but I came out of that last night really hating Elizabeth Warren. I just thought she was too. She was actually out to just get blood last night to seem like the winner, and it was more important that they all be
taking PAC money. She's taking PAC money now.
She's taking PAC money now.
She shrills when she speaks. She screams.
You know what it is?
Shrills.
On Saturday Night Live, I can't remember the woman's name. She does Elizabeth. What's her name? Kate McKinnon does her. And all I can see when she's on stage now is Kate McKinnon doing her. That's all I can see.
So good.
That's how devastating.
Well, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
Alex, I don't like.
Get it away from. Wait a minute. Get it away from your mouth. Yeah,
I'm not a fan of Elizabeth Warren. I just haven't been. But actually, it depends on how you want to judge things. But looking around at everyone on that stage, who could actually do stuff, be a good organizer and president, I think Elizabeth Warren has a plan for everything, and she seems like she could actually get things done.
Yeah, but she's
like a Bernie Sanders, who can get things done.
There's one. I don't care who can do what, when, and how. There's one major question that we have to have answered. Which one of these people can beat Donald Trump? And my answer is, right now, not a single one of them. Okay.
But that also isn't a good enough reason to make someone president. Just because they can beat Donald Trump, you want somebody that, after the flash in the pan, actually adds something to the nation. And if their whole reason for being is to beat Donald Trump, then what do you get when they do beat him? You get nothing. You got something worse than Donald Trump, because at least he's doing something.
Yeah. Well,
I agree with Phil. Phil's got it right.
Yeah. Well, he may not be doing anything. May not be doing anything good, but he is doing something. Yeah.
Bloomberg said, "Hey, I'm a manager." You don't need somebody to manage.
Yeah, but look, I think Bloomberg would have the best chance against Trump, but only because he's got the most money to throw at it.
Yeah, but put those two guys on a debate stage.
Does anybody seriously think that Bernie can beat Trump
in 2 states?
I do.
You do?
I do. I think Bernie would win 48 states against Trump.
What'd you say?
I said I think Bernie would win 48 states against Trump.
I think it's the other way around. Trump taunts Bernie.
Yep.
Yep.
This is going to be Bernie's the new McGovern.
Here's where everybody's making the big mistake about Bernie. whatever percentage Bernie has, it's of a bunch of people who believe in a socialist being president, which I have nothing against. I have it against Bernie because I don't think he's genuine. Okay, I don't think I think he's only a socialist in branding. Okay, he's not a socialist in reality. Let me finish.
There's a difference between a socialist and a democratic socialist.
Oh, well, anybody who calls him a democratic socialist, I can tell him to go take a walk, because at least have the guts to say you're a socialist rather than to temper it with democratic socialist.
I don't think any of them are genuine. Buttigieg, none of them. I think they just say.
Well, look. Trump isn't. And none of the Republicans who ran were either. They're politicians. They're not genuine. They don't know how to be genuine. Okay,
he's doing what he says he was going to do, And
he's not. He's done almost nothing that he said he was going to do.
Oh yeah, he's building the wall, 450 miles.
Oh yeah,
Mexico's paying for it too, right?
Yeah. Mexico's paying for it. Yeah,
he's got a turnstile where they come in. They got to put the token in.
Well, the point is that Bernie, he has 29%, but you got to remember that's 29%. The rest of them are going to other people. Now, if that group were winnowed down to say 3 people, he might not be in the lead anymore, because most of the people who are going to say they are going to vote for one of these Democrats is going to vote for somebody more in the middle than Bernie Sanders. They're not going to vote for Elizabeth Warren. They're not going to vote for Bernie Sanders, but a Pete Buttigieg they might go for. They might go for a Bloomberg, because Bloomberg is right down the middle,
Klobuchar did a good job.
Klobuchar is right down the middle. These people are going to get the lion's share of the votes, and when some of them fall out of the race, whoever's left standing is going to be the receptor of those people.
I read today that Elizabeth Warren took a $500,000 ad buy and canceled it for South Carolina, and a $60,000 ad buy for Nevada and canceled it.
Why?
Well, if she's canceling her ads, I think she's going to pull out of the race.
Who?
Elizabeth Warren.
I don't think so. I think she may be pulled out because
she collected $5 million overnight.
She could have felt Phil. She could have felt that last night she did very well.
Yeah.
Okay, and that by virtue of that she shouldn't get out. That she should get out. Why spend all this money when you got all that publicity last night? You got to, especially if you're an Elizabeth Warren, you got to spend your money wisely. You can't spend it like a drunken sailor, And
you don't think Nevada and South Carolina are worth the delegates?
No,
She's going to bank on Super Tuesday as well.
Super Tuesday is what you got to aim everything at, and that's what I think. That's where I think Bloomberg is going. He's going for Super Tuesday, and I think between now and then you're going to see him. Maybe in another debate where they're going to be lowered expectations for his performance, and then they will all say, "Oh, hey, he did real well last night."
Yeah.
So don't count him out yet. It's almost good that he didn't do that well last night, because you have lowered expectations about him.
That's what you want in a president.
No, look, Phil. This thing has stopped. This thing has stopped being a race for the soul of America. This has become a wrestling match. This has become Saturday Night Fights. This is, before the whole thing, I'm watching MSNBC, and they're like handicapping the debate. Oh well, so and so will have to come out fast and go. And I'm thinking, that's what they say about wrestling matches and about boxing matches. You don't say this about politics. What you say about politics is these people have to show how good they are and how good they're going to be for the country and so on and so forth. But,
Yeah.
Pretty, it was, I think, and there was somebody on MSNBC today, I heard out of the side of my ear, who said that a lot of the participants last night came out of the debate feeling that as a whole, they had done badly. They had acted badly with each other. And I think that's true.
They can't be proud of what they did.
No, that a lot of them weren't. And I'm sorry. I agree with Bloomberg. He says America's leading socialist has several $1 million and 3 homes. In what world did that happen? You know.
He wrote a book. He made some money.
You're misrepresenting Bernie.
How are we misrepresenting Bernie?
Sorry, you guys can misrepresent him all day. It doesn't make what you're saying true.
He's been a hardcore, supposedly a hardcore socialist all these years. Democratic.
He has never claimed to be a hardcore socialist.
His wife was the breadwinner, and she got involved in some scam with her school and money and $200 and something thousand. There was some scam she was involved with. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, boy, this whole picture with Bree. Are you still there, Bree?
I don't think so.
He's not there anymore. I'm going to do a little adjusting here.
He's back.
Oh, there he is. He's back again. Okay. All right. Because when you do that, Bree, we just get a black screen, and it's not attractive. I like things to look attractive on this
against
show.
Black screens.
Yeah.
Charlie's.
Yeah. Charlie, you've got.
So you don't know what you've been missing.
You
don't know what you've been missing.
What do you mean?
Well, show us.
Well, wait, what have we been missing?
We've been missing the girl that's probably sitting on the other.
Excellent cake here.
What?
They've got an Oreo matcha cheesecake that is to die for.
Oh, really? We thought you were going to turn us on to some woman or something like that, and instead it's you're turning us on to cheesecake, huh?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Who did I have on the bottom? Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Goomba.
Charlie, and then I got Goomba on the bottom. But wait a minute, I had somebody else on the bottom before. Who have I got here?
No.
Oh, I had Jeff's there, and there's Goomba, and there is.
You got 2 rays on the.
I know I've got 2 rays on here, but I'm trying to figure out why I've got 2 rays when I had. Oh well, here we go. Okay.
Well, we only have 4.
We'll get rid of 1 ray. 2 rays is one ray too many.
You got 6 total with you.
6 total with me, and we didn't have 6 before. We had 4 before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we miss there? This is more important than politics for a second. What did we miss there, Bree?
Cheesecake.
Cheesecake?
Well, I want to see the cheesecake. Would you aim the phone at those girls at the other cake?
They've got an excellent cheesecake here.
Cheesecake and
What kind of cheesecake?
Yeah. I don't want the fat.
Oh, they have a blueberry lime cheesecake. They have an Oreo matcha cheesecake. Oh, it's divine.
Really?
They've got a French vanilla mille crepe. They've got tiramisu mille crepe.
Yeah.
Just awesome.
Wow.
I'm going to give you a tour of the cakes here in a minute.
Oh, okay. We'll have it. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, for a tour of the cakes.
This is the Gabnet Food Channel.
And then turn the cameras around to the women so we can get a shot of the pies.
Yeah, gotta stop this.
Anyway, but I just felt that God, I'm so worried. Phil, you don't argue with me on this because I know how you feel about it. But I think we're fighting for the soul of a nation, and I think it got lost last night because even the very people who we want to have to be the custodians of it seem to have fallen by the wayside. They're all battling each other in a very unsavory way.
Alex, you've made the point before years ago that what you have to do in a debate is, and the way that you have to run your election is not what you have to do to govern. So there's a total disconnect, and the system is totally flawed. I mean, this horse race system. This is what we have. AOC was on The View the other day, and she said the same thing. Like, I want to create a new party called the Independence Party because it's got the largest number of percentage of people. But she was making this point that, whether Bernie's a Democrat or not, and she said, well, look, the system is Republican-Democrat, so you have to find your way to fit within there. You know, there's so much going on with that.
Well, you know, what's interesting was something that Buttigieg said last night when he was pointing at Bernie and at Bloomberg. He said it's amazing that the two front runners in this panel tonight, neither of which are really Democrats. You know, that Bloomberg
Well, his other point was
Bloomberg
one
has
wants to burn the party down, the other wants to buy the party out.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you something, and I don't remember accurately, but I think my assumption is, did Obama ever stoop to these levels during the debates when he debated Hillary?
No, never. I don't think so.
Hillary did against him.
And that's probably the picture that they should assume. They should look to that as an example of how to conduct themselves.
Well, I mean, for whatever you want to say about Obama, I think he was
positive about Obama. I thought he
pretty classy guy. Pretty classy guy. You know.
Well, if I was up against a bunch of dregs like these people, I would go from a classy step above thing. That's how they're going to stand out. The person that takes the Obama track is the one that's going to stand out.
I think it's too late for any of them because they've all tainted themselves with this style. You know, okay. I think Trump is dirty. Just hear me out, Phil. Trump is dirty. He plays dirty. He acts dirty. He tweets dirty. He's a dirty politician. He plays rough and tumble. Okay, we don't like that. We find that objectionable, and yet we will then allow our own Democrats to act that way.
That's right.
That's wrong. We should act in the way that we want people. We want our politicians to act.
Well, that's what I said.
Yeah, and we're not doing that. You know.
You know, the first one that, you know, either does a mea culpa and says, you know, I'm not proud of the way I was on that debate stage. And this is the way I am going to go forward with debates. And
I disagree.
I don't think it's Bernie. I don't think Bernie did anything that last night to cause him to be considered an idiot like the rest of them.
Charlie, I think that what you've got in Bernie and you're kind of going along with is his passive aggressiveness, in which he goes, "Oh no, I wouldn't do that sort of thing." But he's kind of like, I don't know, he's like the king in Beckett who says to a bunch of people, "That man is just driving me nuts. I wish something would happen to him." And then somebody else went, let me finish. No, that's not what hear me out, Charlie. That he then is giving kind of permission to his underlings to go out and kill Beckett. All right? It's the same thing with Bernie. He's going, "Oh, I don't want them doing that. I please don't do that in my name." But he does nothing to really stop it. And the fact is,
what can he do? You can't control people.
Yes, you can.
He can't
yes,
do
you
one
can.
thing to control what I do.
Yes, you can. Because people are doing people are doing what they're doing because they feel they have Bernie's blessing.
No, they don't.
Well, he engenders
Bernie's blessing.
Charlie, he engenders that blessing. Okay.
No.
You know, he engenders the.
Trump is the one that's done that. To smack the guy upside the head, I'll pay your legal bills. That's Trump. That's not Bernie. Bernie has never said it. He's never said that he would take care of anybody that hurt somebody for him.
Bernie's supporters are thugs.
They're not. Those are Russian fucking trolls. Anybody can get on the internet. I can get on the internet now and say I'm a Trump supporter and then make a threat against Elizabeth Warren. And then we say, "Oh, those Trump supporters are so terrible."
Charlie, I see these people throwing stuff through windows, lighting dumpsters on fire.
And you don't know, there's no proof that those are Bernie supporters.
Those are Bernie supporters.
There's no true way to go interview everyone and look at the ID.
I think Bree wants to say something. Bree?
Bree is.
No, it's okay.
There he is.
Sorry. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you guys? Oh, okay.
Yeah. If
my phone is going batty.
I know.
I gotta get a new phone.
When you turn that phone to your face, in other words, you turn. Oh, there we go. Now we got the wide screen finally. Wait a minute. Who's that woman? Who's that woman? You just passed by a woman that looks like. Come on, I only have a few days left to masturbate. Who was that woman? Give me.
She's very pretty.
Yeah. Oh, she was. Yeah, very pretty.
The redhead again.
But if I were younger, I think that's where I'd move. What do you Ray? What do you think about what we've been talking about here?
He's looking at
me.
Huh?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I don't think that Bernie supporters are violent.
Oh.
I mean, I'm a Bernie supporter. I know a ton of Bernie supporters who aren't violent. Where are you seeing these violent Bernie supporters?
No, it's not violent. It's
well,
some
Bill
of the
just said so.
it's some of the trolling they're doing and stuff like that.
No,
I didn't say
said
that.
they're causing violence.
They shout down conservatives that want to speak in public. Whether
you said they were throwing bricks and things like that.
Yes, they were. In Berkeley, when Yiannopoulos was going to speak at Berkeley, they broke the windows. They set the dumpsters.
Yeah, but it's not Bernie people. That's not Bernie people you're talking about. It's not Bernie supporters.
Hey, Phil.
No, it's not.
Phil, I went to Cal. I went to Cal, and they often
1914. You went to Cal.
Will you listen to him, Phil? What is it, Ray?
They often blame people that aren't actually who they say they are. They're somebody else. They're not Bernie supporters.
And the balaclavas and
that doesn't mean that they're Bernie supporters.
No, I've never heard anybody say that the people who were shouting down certain speakers at Cal were Bernie supporters.
Well, I've heard Fox TV say it. I've heard it on Fox, and I've heard it on the bullshit channels.
Yeah,
but they have no proof of that.
And it's true. I mean,
no, it's not.
They're news investigators. They check this stuff out.
Yeah, right. Okay. Bullshit.
But
you should see some of these people, and they're.
You've got to be kidding me.
Bernie because
you have
of
the
his
nerve to say that with
because
what
he
Trump
cares
has
about
done. You
other
have the
people.
nerve.
We're not going to be
wait a minute. Hold on a second, Charlie. Go ahead.
So we like Bernie because he cares about other people. He cares about the 30 million people that don't have health care. He cares about the college students that are buried in debt over the student loans. We're not going to be violent. We care about people. That's why we like Bernie.
Elected. The only thing he cares about is getting elected, and he's offering you a bunch of free stuff that he's never.
Oh, bullshit! Like Trump doesn't.
Never.
Trump offers free stuff.
It's not free.
He's sitting there.
Let me ask you something, Charlie.
If he would lie about the Russians.
Okay, Jeff.
Okay, a lot of my son, two of my nephews, are all guys in, 30s and 40s. They all like Bernie.
I can't see why.
Well, they feel like it's the advantage for them.
I can see why. My opinion is based on 80 years of becoming a cynic. Okay, they aren't old enough to have gotten that cynical yet. Okay, so they're open to that kind of idea. I don't believe, for instance, I know this for a fact. Okay, Bernie can promise all he wants to. If he doesn't get himself a Democratic Senate, none of that. He's not going to be able to do any of that.
That's right.
Not going to get any of it done. So to even make the promise, he's got to make the promise by saying, "Here's how I think America should be." And if I get president and I can I can have the right Senate, Congress, and so on to get these things passed. Here's what I'd like to do. But don't make these promises about here's the statement I hate every politician makes. Well, if I'm elected on day one, blah blah blah.
I'm going to close Guantanamo.
Yeah. On day two, I'm going to create the heaven and the
Trump
earth.
Trump made a lot of those statements, if you remember, Phil. He made a lot of them.
Yeah.
I guess you maybe forget that.
It was Obama that said he was going to close on Guantanamo on day one.
No, you're changing the subject.
He
He made promises about other things, and he did.
Yeah. The fact of the matter is that
it's the fucking Bennett that wouldn't let him do it.
yeah. Yeah, but I mean, the point I'm making is that he can make all these promises about here's the kind of medical care I'd like. Americans are not ready for single payer. They should be. They're stupid if they don't, but I don't think they're ready for it. They have this concept this concept. And I refer everybody should refer people to last week's John Oliver show if they meet anybody who is against single-payer health care, because he shows you why every argument against it is wrong. The whole idea about, I want to be able to choose my doctor. His answer to that, you can't choose your own doctor anyway. You have to choose the one the insurance company chooses for you. Otherwise, they're not going to be in network. Okay.
Then why are you against Bernie, Alex?
No, I'm not. I'm against Bernie because I don't think he's genuine. Okay, he just doesn't ring true with me. There's something. There's something about.
He's been talking about this for 30 years.
I don't care. He's been talking about it for 100 years, which is probably closer to how long he's been talking about it.
It's a one-note song. He's been talking about the same thing for 30 years. He's the
he's a 15-note song. He's got 15 different things he's been talking about for 40 years.
Yeah.
Go listen to other interviews other than the debates. He talks about everything.
I listened to some of his early tapes last night. I tried to send it to everybody, but it didn't send. He was talking about immigration. He was talking about also that you cannot pay off health care for all. It's too expensive. It'll bankrupt the country. That's what he said. I did send it to everybody, but nobody could open it.
It's not going to bankrupt the country. The fact, but the point is, Phil, I'd like you to watch that John Oliver show from last week, and then come back and tell me that he doesn't make a good case that all these arguments. Hold on a second. All these arguments against single payer are wrong. You know, this whole idea about, I want to be able to choose my own doctor. Well, when you're single payer, you get to choose your own doctor, but you don't get to choose them now. Because if I want to go get a doctor right now, I have to go get a doctor that's in network. If I don't get a doctor that's in network, I'm going to have to take one I may not want, but he's in network. Okay?
I think we're the only, Western country that doesn't have it.
This is the Bernie thing. Maybe you can hear.
No, I don't want to hear anything through your phone, Phil. Come on, that's boring. No.
All right.
Put it up on your Facebook page or whatever.
I can't. For some reason, it won't open if I put it on anything.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, the point I'm making is that John Oliver took all these various reasons people give why they don't like single-payer health care and shows where they're literally ridiculous in feeling that they're going to be better off if they had single-payer. Okay?
Yeah. The only thing you're not better off with single payer is the years that it takes to get the procedures.
No, that's absolutely. He does away with that argument, Phil. Phil, watch. Do me a favor. Watch John Oliver. Wait a minute. Watch John Oliver. Watch John Oliver, and then come back to me and tell me what you think. Okay? Because he brings that very thing up, and he said the fact of the matter is that people in a lot of places like Canada will tell you that their health care is terrific, and that they didn't have to wait for a year to get a procedure or anything like that. That's a big lie. That's a big lie that's being perpetrated.
At your age,
go watch. Hey, Phil, how fast? I didn't have to wait in line, and basically, I have socialized medicine. I have Medicare.
You paid for that.
No.
Lawyer paid for that.
No. I have Medicare because I'm over 65.
And for the 50 years that you worked prior to that, you paid for it.
Well, but the point in fact is that everybody had Medicare for all. They wouldn't be waiting for a year to get a procedure.
No.
That's one of the big lies. Just do me a favor. You can't say another thing about health care until you go watch John Oliver's show from last week.
You had that.
Phil, are you going to watch John Oliver's show from last week?
Yes, I will. But the thing is, if you have
then come back to me and we will argue it. Okay.
I have one.
They live longer.
1 point.
They have longer.
They do live
lives
longer.
than
They-
U.S.
I don't
citizens.
care how long they live.
I find it hard to watch John Oliver.
Look, the thing is, if you just have a pool
I find it hard to watch this.
that are 65 above. Oh, you can't say something here?
No, you can't. He just had a very funny
John
line.
That are 65 and
Oh,
above.
here we go.
You don't have to wait as long as if you have 200 or 330 million people on the insurance.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have lines.
Phil,
That's the way.
Oh, we gotta
hey,
let
you know, Phil,
30,000
quit being such a
people
goddamn
die
hypocrite
every year
because
you don't wanna wait in line.
you were
Only
part
Democrats.
you were part of the biggest socialized medicine plan in America, and the first one that was socialized medicine, and that's Kaiser. You have Kaiser, and Kaiser is socialized medicine.
It's socialized medicine, but I was paying over $1,300 a month before I got on Medicare.
Yeah, and now that you're on Medicare, how much you paying?
A couple $100. I'm paying.
You're paying 140. You're paying $148. $148 a month. And if you're getting Social Security, that comes out of your Social Security.
Well, I'm not getting Social Security.
Well, when you do, it'll come out of your Social Security. Yes, Bree.
One of the things that I guess the rich people of the U.S. don't understand. Bernie actually is helping them in a way, and the reason why is the way that we're currently going is not. There are a lot of people who are hurting, and basically what you want to do if you're rich, you want to make sure that people have just enough so that they don't complain, you know. But the way that it's going, we're going to have to increase our law enforcement. We're going to have to increase our jails. We're going to have to increase. It's just not sustainable. What Bernie is talking about is giving a little bit back to I don't know if you saw this. There was a guy, a CBS reporter, who was in a mall and he had 6 plates. And he said, how many? He said, this is the 1%. This is, and he mapped it out. And the poorest of the poor didn't even get crumbs. In fact, they owed money for the pie. So like the 1% had like 8 pieces of the pie, and there was 1 piece for the extremely wealthy. There was a half of a piece for middle class. There was crumbs for just below, and there was nothing for the poor. And Bernie is saying, like, let's move a little bit of that pie in that direction. He's not saying take the whole pie. It's not communism. What I'm saying is that the way we're going is not sustainable. And on that perspective, I kind of agree with him.
Yeah. Well, I just I just think that there are a lot of reasons that people give why a single payer won't work. And the fact of the matter is that it absolutely will work. And the thing is that I don't know about you, but the idea of paying an insurance company the kind of horrible premiums that they're charging now, that was all possible the day the Reagan administration, I believe, made it so that they couldn't, prior to Reagan, if you were a insurance company, you had to be nonprofit. That's all you could be, it was nonprofit. And now, after Reagan, you could be for profit. And they've gotten greedier and greedier and greedier. And I don't know about you, but when I was at Sirius XM had a medical plan for me, and it was great. I participated in it, and for my wife and I, it cost us like $300 a month on for our share. And that's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And that's why a national health care plan would bring the cost down in many ways. It also, you would pay more taxes for it, but you wouldn't be it wouldn't be the equivalent of what you're paying in premiums for insurance now. Yeah. Yes, Ray.
I pay $1,000 a month,
and it's so much.
I pay $1,000. I pay $1,000 a month just for me, and I pay $1,000 a month for the other 3 people in my family. I pay $2,000 a month
in insurance for insurance.
Insurance premiums.
How much money do you make?
Not much.
Okay, your wife working?
So she works, and then we have to sell stock every quarter to be able to live.
You might like the healthcare in Malaysia.
Well, how's the healthcare done in Malaysia?
Oh, it's great. I mean, Singapore as well. When I live there, I don't have to fear going to a doctor or going to a consultant because I know that I'm not going to get gouged, on the prices, and I can get second opinions, and I can go in and I get a full slate of all the prescriptions I need.
Yeah.
And I know I'm never going to be out
Yeah.
more $10 or $15.
Yeah. Yeah. And people should feel that way. I got to tell you, even though I've got Medicare and I've got my SAG-AFTRA health plan as a secondary, I'm still getting killed by co-pays. I mean, it's $25 here, it's $25 there. It's I imagine I'm going to have the $40,000 worth of procedures here, and my copay will be maybe $100 or something. But I mean,
My taxes are higher here.
Still, I shouldn't have to do that. You deserve more. And yeah, so your taxes go up, but it's going to not go up more than you're paying for insurance right now for your entire family. Ray could, certainly he wouldn't be paying $2,000 a month more in taxes. That's for damn sure. So
we pay twice what the people in Canada pay per person. We pay twice for health care than what people in Canada pay.
Well, that's why a lot of people get on a bus and go up to Canada and buy their drugs up there.
Yeah.
I buy them in Canada. They're 10 times more here. I buy them in Canada, the medicine I have to take.
I heard that there was a place called the Marine Pharmacy or something that is good to use. Something Marine Pharmacy in Canada.
Well, I mean,
there's
there are
a bunch of legitimate ones.
There are a lot of pharmacies in Canada, and some of them will take you for your money, and the others won't. But medicine is incredibly cheaper in Canada, and it's not that it's less expensive for them to make in Canada. It's that the Canadian government will not let them charge that much for drugs in Canada.
Didn't Trump just sign a thing that said that the drug companies have to charge what they do in Canada?
No.
Yeah,
No.
he just had.
No.
What is that thing, Charlie, that he always does?
An executive order that
executive order. If he did it today. I certainly haven't heard
He's
about it.
allowing them to import cheaper drugs from Canada. He's going to allow that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it was.
But he's not saying they have to charge. But there should be a law to that effect. If you're selling it to Canada for that price, you should look around the world. Say, what's the lowest price any country is paying for that particular drug? You got to charge. That's all you can charge here in America. Plain and simple. Nothing wrong
That's what
with
they
it.
do in Canada, actually. They'll go out and buy it from another country. I get that message all the time from my pharmacy in Canada.
Yeah. But, I mean...
But didn't John Oliver point out that there's some insurance companies that are actually paying their patients to fly to San Diego and then across the border to buy medicine?
You have to go back and watch that show to hear the story, but you were absolutely right. It had to do with one insurance company, I think in Montana or someplace like that was actually paying their customers to go somewhere else to buy their drugs, and they pay for the plane flight plus give them $500. Yeah.
And it's still cheaper than buying the drugs here in the U.S.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's terrible what happens, and as you get older, you need these, as Jeff knows and as I know, you need these drugs more and more. I'm very fortunate in that my SAG-AFTRA uses Express Scripts, and I am now getting, where I used to pay $195 a month for all my prescriptions, I'm now paying $135 every 3 months for my prescriptions. That's pretty good. I think it may even be less than $135, maybe more like $125. So... there need to be better plans out there. It needs to be better medicine. And there needs to be a lot more time for us to do this show, but unfortunately we've run out of time.
Elizabeth Warren has a plan for that.
She has a plan for that, right. And I'm sure she will, in a very shrill manner, tell it to you.
But Bloomberg is edited.
Listen, they're all schmucks. What can I say? I think I can say that without losing my
Trump wins.
You lost it an hour ago.
When I played Buzzy Linhart, I lost my monetization. Anyway, hey, listen, that's it for tonight. It's been really good having you here. Good bunch. Charlie's been spitting blood tonight. And Jeff, good talking to you. And of course, the one great thing about Bree, I mean, we like Bree, but the good thing about him is that he shows us a lot of great Malaysian women, but he hasn't got the guts to really point the thing at their faces. But you do a good enough job of it. And of course, Ray, we always like talking to you. And Phil, glad you're not beating up on old people tonight. Anyway, I want you all to give a big wave goodbye, and I'll wave goodbye back to you, okay? There we go. There you go. There's our citizen panel. Aren't they a good citizen panel? They were a terrific citizen panel. There'll be another one coming up next if you listen to the Intersection with Jack Bishop, which is next over most of this same little internet broadcast organization. You just, have a nice night, everybody. I'll see you again tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody. Have a nice night.